Alright, a few days ago I asked you guys for some questions for a channel QA, and holy shit, did you guys ask a fucking lot of questions. Thank you, I really appreciate that. I really had no idea how that was going to go, if anybody would ask anything anyway in the first place, but I was kind of wondering how long I was going to let it run for, but it's been a couple days now, I think. And if I honestly let it keep going, um, it's gonna be. You guys already bitch about the length of my videos, or some of you do anyway. But if I do everything in one video and don't even split it into parts, like I have no idea how long this shit is gonna be. But there's at least like 35 to 40 questions to get through here, and some of them are actually, you guys listened and were really thoughtful with your questions. So some of you are stupid and of course submitted dumb questions that I'm not going to answer, or I'm going to troll you. But other than that, I guess we can get started here. I'm just going to go down the list. I have it sitting here. I'm going to go from the oldest questions to the newest questions. So this one's from Gab one day ago. And it says, actually, do I want to do this? No. I'll just do it this way. And then I guess the text, some of you guys, your questions are like insanely long and shit, so I'm not really sure. I can just give like, put screenshots and throw it up on the fucking screen, stuff like that. I might, of course, you guys are going to have to make me edit shit, which I don't want to do, but anyway. The first question's from Gab. It's thoughts on 2042, BF Portal, and BF in general. Oh boy, what a shit sandwich to get into here, man. 2042, what to say about it? Well, the game's pretty much dead at this point. They launched a very broken, unfinished product, which everybody knew was going to be very broken and unfinished, because anybody who followed anything that these guys have been doing for the last couple of years, there were warning signs all over the place. You know, they said they were ahead of schedule over like June, July time frame. We're like, where's the gameplay? Where's the gameplay? Where's the gameplay? Where's the alpha? Where's the beta? Where's the gameplay? And they were real hesitant to show anything. And there was all this nasty fucking casual marketing shit that you guys, you casuals out there eat this shit up, and then you buy the game, and then we keep seeing this. You guys are ruining games. Anybody, you guys didn't listen to the people who knew what the fuck was going on. We all said, this game's gonna be a turd. This game's gonna be a turd. Stop getting hyped up for the guy jumping out of the jet and fucking rocketing the other guy. That's not reality. Reality is not some dev on a controller fucking bot walking around a demo map on Hourglass. That's not reality. We need a real playable game in our hands, and that's not what we got. Now, granted, to be fair, I like 2042 better than BF5. Okay, if you put a gun to my head and I had to play one for the rest of my life, it would be 2042. Okay, so a lot of people had hopes for 2042 simply because it was not Battlefield 5. Battlefield 5 was one of the most terribly executed atrocities, an affront to fucking mankind. Okay, now casuals, I know they love the fucking atmosphere of like games like BF1 and BF5 and all the World War stuff, but that game was a fucking disaster. Mechanically, performance-wise, your bullets don't come out of the center of your screen. Fucking sacrilege. Spread the recoil conversion, so where your fucking gun just, randomly traces figure eights around the screen. Dog shit visibility. Dog shit maps. Maybe there's 2 playable maps in that game. Everything about it is absolutely fucking horrible. Oh, I didn't even mention attrition. What more do you need to hear? Battlefield 5 is a piece of shit. So at least there is another game now that you can play. Now, for 2042 individually, a lot of people are going to stick with the. I guess I can talk about the things that I like in that game. I like the gunplay in the game. Even with the mouse input is completely broken, and they have not addressed it in the slightest. Mouse input completely fucked. It's as though the game was developed to be a console game and then ported to PC. That's how it feels to me. There's some band-aid fixes and workarounds that you can do, but just fundamentally on an engine level, the mouse input in the game, specifically for ADS, is broken. But with that said, I like the gunplay. I like how it feels to shoot people in the game. If I play specific modes, and I've played the game for, I think, 30 hours, maybe 35 hours up to this point. I have played, I think, 2 games of Breakthrough 128, and that was with Latro and Alico. And that's it. I only stay in Rush, 32 player, and I've been like this for a long time. I think Conquest is a game mode that needs to fucking die, because Conquest, I don't care, Conquest has not been a fun game mode since, I don't know, ever. It's not, Conquest isn't fun. Now, as a person who played an absolute, I've played Battlefield since the first Battlefield. So 1940, was it 42 or 43? The one that came out in 2002. I was on 28K modem with a Car 98 in the fucking Stalingrad railroad tracks, banging people, okay? I have played every Battlefield game except for, I think, the console only, which was Bad Company, I think. The first Bad Company was a console only release, but every PC Battlefield I have played. And I don't think I've enjoyed Conquest since maybe Battlefield 3, and even then, I mean, you didn't really play much, you know? You played like Metro and shit. And even back in the day on Conquest, you like in Battlefield 2 or 2042, you were playing like Cerber Landing or Camp Gibraltar. Or in Battlefield 2, you were playing Master City or Strike at Karkand or things like that. Specific maps. Yeah, Conquest is a shit game mode. It reminds me a lot of Planetside. And 128 player Breakthrough reminds me a lot of Planetside. And I've always been more of a guy who plays. Now, I'm never some guy in Battlefield games who sits and plays Domination or TDM, but I've always enjoyed when they put operations into Battlefield 1. I enjoyed that. It has some cancer elements, yes. The Behemoth and the Sentry Kit pickups and shit like that. I was not a fan of those, among a bunch of other gameplay design decisions in BF1. But operations is a game mode I really liked. Breakthrough I really like. I like the idea of it. I don't like how it's executed. But Conquest kind of just needs to fuck off and die and go the way of the dinosaur, you know? That's my opinion. So I really love Frontlines, like 32-player game modes. Frontlines. The only reason I'm playing Rush on 2042 with the 32-player game mode is there's no Frontlines, right? But they managed to kill Frontlines in every game. So the only game I've managed to play a shit ton of Frontlines in is Battlefield 1, and I have like maybe 400 to 500 games of that played with a pretty high winning percentage. I really enjoy that. But yeah, I'm only really playing one game mode. I have a really good computer. I have a 5900X with a 6800 XT with 3600 memory, CL14. I've spent a lot of time and money on my computer, and obviously, the game runs like shit even for me. Now, what is shit for me might be very different for you, because I find people that have 40 FPS and they're perfectly fine with that. You see this shit in Planetside, but for me, I have a 240 hertz refresh rate monitor, and if I play on my 1440p 240 hertz monitor, if I'm playing on 1440p, I have like 180 to 200 FPS, that's actually probably pretty good. And then on 1080, I obviously have more. But what ultimately kills that game's performance for me is the input lag, and this is with future frame rendering off. And I've done all the fucking band-aid fixes. I've tried the 125 polling rate on the mouse. I don't know if it's placebo or not. It may help a little bit better, but you know, there's Universal Soldier aiming is completely fucked, and they're using a completely different formula with that. It's just a total mess. I could literally make a fucking 2-hour video just on all the fuck-ups for that game of what's wrong with it. But to get really back to your question, my thoughts on it is there's some things I like about it. Obviously, like I said, I like the gunplay. The specialist thing doesn't bother me that much because I can see different ways to use certain specialists to maybe have an ability that I would normally have as a normal infantry soldier in the game. I get it why people don't like that. It's never been a thing in the Battlefield series. They're chasing other shit. Me personally, I don't really care. I'm not that Battlefield veteran guy who's like, this is fucking not in keeping with the series and all that. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I really don't care. Some of it is interesting. Some of it is fucking stupid. As long as you keep it balanced, I don't really care. I know why they do it. They do it for... It's easier for microtransactions to have skins and shit for these individual characters. But at the end of the day, I don't really give a shit. The lines are cringe as fuck. Some of the abilities are really fucking annoying. Like, there's certain operators/specialists that shitters and bad players are just attracted to. Boris is the main fucking one. He's just some fucking stupid specialist that puts a turret down. And he puts a turret down that gives you fucking wall hacks when it starts shooting at you. So every shitter and his mother is using this thing. And, I mean, if you play Boris, just... You should be banned from the game. Like, you're not wanted. You're scum. You're a rat. Well, they're all terrible players, but at the end of the day, like, I'm playing a rush game mode, and my teammates don't participate in the game because they're all hiding in a corner. Like, beyond how the state of the game and how bad the game is, the state of the player base is something that... It needs to be covered separately because the player base is the most degenerate, fucking stupid group of people that it borders. They're as dumb as Planetside players, if not worse. But we're seeing this gradual decline of like common sense. Like there doesn't seem to be any good players left, and it's just these casual shitters who are just brain dead damaged and don't even understand like what game mode they're playing. Like, the majority of the time when I play Rush in 2042, if I'm on defense, the attackers can't get out of the spawn. They don't even try. They sit in their spawn on console, and you have to have crossplay on because the game is so fucking dead that the only way you can have a game is to have crossplay on. And also, crossplay on is this equivalent of farm mode because console players are fucking absolutely god-awful. Yeah. They sit in their spawn the entire game with a sniper rifle or a DMR. Imagine paying full price for a fucking video game and sitting in the spawn sniping. Like, these people should be fucking hardware ID banned from playing video games. Just forever. Permanently. There's nothing lost. Or, on the opposite end, if you're on attack, all of your teammates are sitting in the fucking uncap, in the spawn, not doing shit. They don't even try to arm the MCOMs. I can't tell you how many games that I've had where I have to go fucking kill everyone on A or B, arm it, fucking protect it, and then I have to go to the other one and kill all the people there, and arm it, and protect it, and so on and so forth. I had a game where I had fucking 5 arms doing that over and over again because my teammates don't play the game. I don't know if it's something that we have to... FPS games in general are attracting people who are not FPS players. And this is something I've been saying about Planetside for years. It's that we keep having these FPS games attract these people who for some reason think that they are needed to be playing in an FPS game. You're not. You're too casual and too shitty to be actually even playing in the game. Because you're on my team and you're making the game extremely unfun for me and everyone else. And you're also extremely unfun to play against because you play in the most cheese dick manner that pisses everyone else off and you don't even contribute to the outcome of the game. So get these fucking people out of the fucking games, hardware ID ban these motherfuckers, and get them out of here. But that's my rant on the people in 2042. What else with 2042? There's too many fucking vehicles. The map design is horrible. The UI is horrible. The performance is horrible. Basic things don't fucking work. You don't have a scoreboard. You know, getting in squads with people is a pain in the ass. Changing squads inside the game is a fucking giant pain in the ass. All these things, like the mouse input is bugged. The menus are too fucking bloated and fucked up. The color gradient in the entire UI is completely fucking stupid and all this shit. Like, then I'm not even getting into the bugs and shit where you get out of a fucking MAV and you can't look up or down. Or when you spawn in with the M5A3 and you have to look at the press check for 1.5 to 2 seconds every time you spawn in for 7 billion fucking times. Stop it. Take it out of the game. It's just a lot of bad shit. But you know what? I would say I'm still having more fun playing that game than Planetside 2 or, God forbid, fucking BF5. So that's my thoughts on 2042. All right, the second question here is from Enzak. Should Rel move on to DICE? I don't really know how to answer this question. I think Rel should move on to a company where he can make a game that actually fits what his ideas are for what he wants to do and the kind of game he wants to make. But I'm sure we'll get into that later. But should he move on to DICE? I don't. At this point, I don't think DICE needs people. DICE needs fewer people like Rel right now. Okay? I'll just leave it at that. All right, the third question is from Ozzy. Do you know a single person that would be even remotely close to a feasible lead game designer for Planetside 2, who could be a responsible developer with a proper vision, who actually plays the game, could balance the game adequately, and wouldn't be there for roleplay features or Reddit tier issues or solutions? Nah, I get this question all the time, like, you know, who should replace Rel and all this fucking shit? Look, I don't know. I don't have a name. Like, I definitely not someone from the community. That's my big thing, is we already made not a fucking YouTuber, not a person in the community. You need someone in the games industry who makes and runs an FPS game that understands what the fuck's going on and doesn't come into this situation and is completely enamored by all the bullshit, made up shit about this game that isn't true at all. Like it's some deep fucking, you know, war simulator with massively deep RPG elements. It's just not. We need someone who's in touch with reality of what the game is. Basically. Other than that, no, I don't know if you're looking for me to give a name of like a specific person or something. There's no I don't know. Not me, not any fucking content creators. Like, this is how we got into this problem in the first place, guys. Like, you can't be looking to content creators. You can look to content creators for ideas and discussions and stuff like that. But you people, you dumb fucks out there who are constantly posting these threads of, oh, Sirius would be a great game dev. It's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Kind of like him. So, please, God, no. I think we kind of had, when we had Higby, it was kind of as good as we were going to get. And even then, I mean, there were problems with Higby too, so it's hard. But whatever we got going on now is obviously not the answer. And yeah, I can't really answer your question like that. Well, this is kind of a common theme here. This is kind of a follow-up question from Ozzy. It says, also, what would be your advice for an average 2KD heavy shitter to become better? There's kind of a lot of that in this QA, asking for advice on getting better or touching on topics related to that. But the number one thing you can do to get better as a 2KD player is to get the fuck out of pop. Get out of pop. Stop sitting in pop. Put down the bolt-action rifle. Put down the shotgun. Get out of the max. Stop baiting. Get out of fucking pop. Play with your big map on and get the fuck out of the population. Stop sitting in the 70% and the 80% and the 60 to 40. Stop. You're not getting any better. You're fighting over scraps. Okay? That's not how you get better. You don't get better by hiding behind people, baiting for kills. That's not how you get better. You get better by going to the opposite of the fights that you are in all the time. You get better by going to the 10%, the 20%, the 30%, the 40%. Sit in underpop. Get the fuck out of pop. Stop it. And stop making excuses for why you're there. Be cognizant. Be in the fucking moment when you're playing the game. Because if you're not, you're also not trying to improve. Now, I get it, the people that want to play casually and don't give a shit. But if you're asking for advice on how to get better at the game, which seems to be the case, get the fuck out of population. Stop it. The next question is from Bethesda. What was the biggest developmental blunder you witnessed to a game besides Planetside 2? Holy shit. There's going to be some recency bias here. Well, maybe not. I can think of two right off the bat. And one is very specific, and one is very generalized. The first one I can think of is attrition. Mainly health attrition in Battlefield 5. One of the fucking stupidest things we've ever had is to appease people who played Battlefield on Refractor, which was a totally different era of gaming and shit. The game is absolutely a piece of shit by today's standards, but for some reason, some nostalgic fucking boomers wanted to go back and play a completely piece of shit version of a game and forget everything that we've learned over the last 15 years. So that health attrition in Battlefield 5. And number two would be general, this is for World of Warcraft, general accessibility for fucking shitters completely destroyed that game. Making absolutely everything as accessible as possible just to fucking try to garner more subscriptions, well, it actually had the opposite effect, because the game was at subscription-wise at its height in Wrath of the Lich King, and these accessibility features like LFR and all this other fucking casual dog shit started, in TBC, fucking Wrath of the Lich King, and slightly after. So that was all downhill from there. I'm sure if you guys follow anything with the scene, you've seen the chart with the World of Warcraft fucking expansions that coincide with the subscriptions on the line graph. And then you get to Wrath of the Lich King, we peek out there, and then the franchise goes to shit. You know why? Because we're catering the game to fucking casuals. Isn't this a common occurrence? Is that when you cater your game to the lowest common denominator, you get a completely shit game. Weird, this keeps coming up and we keep seeing this. But yeah, those are the two off the top of my head that I can think of. Obviously, you're a Planetside player, so we've had a bunch of those. We had the PS4 code merge. We put the game on PlayStation 4 so that fucking 200 people in the year 2021 could be playing the game on console on the shitbox for some fucking reason, and ruined a whole bunch of shit in our game for it. Construction, obviously, but you can go on and on, but as long as you make these development blunders and then you just double down on them, which is what basically the two examples I gave, attrition they doubled down on until much later, and then the accessibility shit for World of Warcraft, just constantly doubling down and going down that road, and they don't ever recover, right? So that's my answer to that. The next question is from Iron Within. In your opinion, is it still worth trying to improve on Planetside 2, despite the better players continuing to leave and the state of the game continuing to decline? Or is moving on to another game preferable? If so, what would be a good shooter to improve at alternatively? To answer the second part of your question first, and this is in here a lot too, what would be a good shooter to improve at alternatively is completely up to you. It's completely a preference and a taste thing. Like, there's some games that people suggest that I fucking play that I have no fucking inkling. I don't want to play Hell Let Loose and all this milsim roleplay LARPy shit. I have absolutely no interest in that stuff. But I understand the draw to it, and I understand why other people play it. So that's you. When I was looking for another game to play at the end of 2015 and 2016, I started playing Siege. I played Siege for 5 or 6 years, and that's a very fucking polarizing game, whether you like it or not. Don't go to it for the gunplay, I'll tell you that much. And I definitely didn't go to that game for the gunplay. but it's still, considered a shooter and everything. In my opinion, is it still worth trying to improve on Planetside 2? Well, it depends what you want to do. It depends if improving is important to you or not. Now, some of these are things that I can't answer for you, because you have to look at it from my point of view. I'm someone who came up when the game came out, 2012, 2013, 2014, improved and got better. Granted, I'm still improving to this day. But I don't really have to do like the main focus, like real focus, to do that anymore. It's like I kind of made it already, But if you're a person who hasn't made it yet, that is a decision that has to be yours. I feel bad for the guys who are doing it now because of how watered down the state of the game is, in terms of players, especially skilled players who are not hanging around. And the skilled players are not hanging around for good reason. Number one, their skills not appreciated at all. There's nothing to do with content for this game if you're a skilled player. And there's just better, less frustrating games for the most part to go out there and play instead. So, all these people that told you to, go play XXX game, play whatever else. Well, that's what basically most of your good players have already done. So what you find is that people that are Planetside safe spacers that can only succeed within the framework of sitting in a giant fucking Zerg coloring in the map like a Crayola fucking coloring book, those are the people who stick around, and they'll never leave Planetside 2 because they can't experience success in another game where they have a gun in their hands, because they're completely fucking awful. So I would say at this point, moving on to another game is preferable. However, then you're into the weeds there of what the hell else is worth getting into and playing now. And for a lot of different people, there are a lot of different answers. Like for you, actually, the answer might be Tarkov, or fucking you might want to play Halo Infinite. Now, for a guy like me, it was a game like Siege, or, not much else. I dabble, like I've always played Battlefield, but with the state of that now, it's like, it's a really personal choice. But whatever it is, make sure it means something to you. And if you want to stay and improve at Planetside, that's fine too. Because honestly, there's probably always going to be some level of pop in that game because of the people that I described earlier. So if that's what you wanted to do, then yeah, it's not, I'm not out here giving self-worth to people who are trying to improve, I did it in the past. There's a lot of people that I've seen do it. I've helped a lot of people with it, but you got to have it within you to do it. I can't give you the push along to go down that route, because if I'm doing something different, how can I, with a clear conscience, tell someone to go through that? Because the game's not in a great state, obviously, and it hasn't been for a really long time. So for me to actively push people to improve at that fucking game, I think is a little, with all the things that I say, I think it's a little disingenuous. So I'm pretty sure there's another question here about, are you going to do those improvement videos and everything? The only way I would do improvement videos is very specific questions that someone has for me, that they pose to me on like an offhand comment or something like that. As for me making improvement videos, like you see with these clickbaity, yeah, you guys know how I am. I cannot make you a 10-minute fucking how to quickly improve video and run through a bunch of shit. I'm not like that. There are things that you have to talk about and learn and discuss that I can't give you in a 10-minute video. And you guys that are looking for that type of shit, like you want a 10-minute video to tell you how to actually improve, you're fucking lying to yourselves. And you're kind of one of the main problems with FPS games now, is you guys just want to fucking quick out, and you want to learn as fast as possible, and you don't want to put in the fucking work. That's a major problem. And part of learning is, if you jump into a game and you're successful immediately, and you don't have a background in that type of shit, then the game's lying to you. Okay, it's not real. But yeah, part part of improving at any game or anything in life is you might suck at it for a while, guys. I fucking hate to tell you, but not everyone that got good at Planetside was fucking good from day one. That might be the case for one or two people, but it takes time. And you guys, the casual player base in these fucking games, man, doesn't have the patience to do it. And it can take years. Are you ready for that? I think a lot of you are not. All right, so that was that from Iron Within. This question is from Facehurt. How do you know who's the imposter and who is sus? Obviously, this person has an anime profile picture, and they are safe to ignore. So we're going to move on. We're going to move on to Stoats. What do you do to practice and keep up the FPS aim that you have? Do you use any aim training games or run any drills? I'm going to put a graphic up on the screen here. I've played aim labs and Kovacs, but I play them very little. I have no aim training routine or regimen, and even when I was coming up, I barely ever played Kovacs. I barely played... I really don't play aim trainers. And I think the only reason you should ever fucking use aim trainers is if you are really fucking bad at using a mouse and keyboard. Like, if you're someone that's coming from console FPS and first time coming to a mouse and keyboard, yeah, sure, go for it. But these people that main aim trainers and sit in aim trainers 24/7 are... I'm not impressed, and I'm also not impressed by you in-game either, because I've known plenty of people who spend hours and hours and hours and hours in fucking aim trainers, and then I run into them in-game, and I just shit on them. So, there's nothing... You have to play the fucking game, okay? You can do all this other bullshit, like, can it help you? I think aim trainers can help you if you're, like, really bad at a specific thing. But if you're overall pretty good at stuff, you just need to play the game. What do I do to practice and keep up the aim that I have is I try to play as much as possible. Obviously, I'm older now. And when I didn't start actually trying an FPS game, so I was probably like 24 or 25, so I was already real late to the party. But as I've gotten older, as I said, I'm 34 now. I feel like I've actually improved every year since I actually started trying. So, but I do that by putting in the time. Obviously, there's weeks where I don't get to play as much as I want to, like... If I don't play, and this happens a lot, if I don't get to play for 3 or 4 days straight, then yeah, you got to get in and play the fuck out of the game. Like, but you'll settle back into a groove, obviously. So you need to put a second thing to go on that is you need to put yourself in situations that challenge you, right? So all this shit with people, if you're someone who has bad aim and you are naturally attracted to fucking like sniper rifles and shit, put the fucking sniper rifles down. No one is impressed. No one cares that you can get a one-shot body shot kill or a one-shot headshot kill. You need to use the guns that are like actually harder to use. And people can argue with you about snipers and shotguns, but generally snipers and shotguns in most games are the more brain-dead options to use. And obviously this can change depending on what game you're playing, but you need to use the guns that kind of have like a higher skill floor and a higher skill ceiling, and that can help you. And if like every game has like a sort of a different method of aiming, and if you play enough, if you vary your repertoire enough in the games that you play, you'll develop kind of different aiming styles for every game. Like, it used to be, like Planetside, I'd play with a specific sensitivity. There's a lot going on. Battlefield, I might play a little bit faster. The time to kill is a little bit faster. Siege, I play a completely different way. Like, you just have to be adaptable. And the only way you learn how to be adaptable is you got to play the other games, focus on them, and play them seriously when you do them, okay? Aim training, all that shit is fine to brush up on little stuff if you have like mechanical problems, like you have a left side weakness or something. Some of those can help you with that, but I would try to avoid spending a huge amount of fucking time in aim trainers and aim training games. Yeah, just play the fucking games, honestly. The next question is from Kai. Hold or toggle ADS. I've actually played both. Pretty much in everything. I went through a period in Planetside 2 specifically where I played toggle. I was experimenting with, because there is something to holding the pressure that you exert while holding the right mouse and trying to aim at the same time. Because if you ever just tap the right mouse button to go into ADS, and then you're aiming without that pressure on the right mouse button from your right middle finger, it is a little bit different. I won't say that it makes it better. You just need to be a lot more cognizant of what you're doing with your reticle and hipfire. And what I mean by that is, when you're focusing on, hipfire, like looking around for people, and then you're toggle ADS, man, and you're on a guy and you're toggling in and then come back out, toggling in, come back out, and you're like kind of turreting a little bit. But the downside of toggle ADS is, I feel like if your game has any kind of like movement and stuff, like it's a lot more. I feel like you can do a lot more with hold. Like there was a reply to your comment. But do I think toggle ADS is necessarily bad or irrelevant? No. I've used it and had fun. I've performed almost exactly the same as I do with hold. It just takes some getting used to, and especially when you first switch over, it's gonna be you're gonna look like a fucking idiot a lot. But you get used to it. It's like with anything else. If you want to play hold or toggle, like it's just a matter of you got to play a little bit different, and your aiming style might be a little bit different, But other than that, yeah, use either one you want. I have used both, and you just have to play a little bit differently. This one's from Prefectus. The question is, hobbies and aspirations outside of gaming. You're also consistently uploading to YouTube again. How long is it going to last? Side note, first video I ever saw from you was the Seriously Challenged video. Practically the same week it was uploaded by complete chance. It really sucked when it was private and unlisted. I couldn't share the video to some serious worshippers. I was trying to prove wrong. Yeah, I've had that complaint before about I've done some stuff where I've privated or unlisted my videos and stuff. I'm trying to not do that anymore for the most part. But to answer your question here, your hobbies or aspirations outside of gaming. Well, obviously I had a lot more hobbies and aspirations outside of gaming before fucking all this COVID stuff and everything. But I have a lot of varied interests. I'm someone who has been into, Jesus, I've always been into sports the entire time. Like, I was into sports growing up. I'm into sports kind of now, but a lot of that stuff is taken in the back seat. Like, I'll go to fucking games. Like, I've been in a fucking, I've been in a bowling league. I played basketball, fucking football, baseball. I've been in a fucking dodgeball league, if you can believe that. We actually had a dodgeball league in like 2008, 9, and 10. That was pretty fucking badass. Yeah, but a lot of that all that stuff, man, has really gone away. What other hobbies and aspirations do I have? I love to go out and fucking eat with people. Do that. I don't really drink anymore, but going out to like different places and getting good ass food is fun. I used to be a big fucking go to the movies guy. I see a lot of movies. I'm really big into film. Like, I'm the kind of movie guy that I would go and see fucking 2-3 movies in a day at a movie theater, if there was shit that I wanted to see and I kind of had only one day, like, I might do that. But obviously, since fucking COVID, a lot of that has changed. The last movie I saw before fucking COVID killed everything was 1917. And then I didn't see another movie in theaters again until I saw something. I think it was the Halloween movie from this year. And there were more movies I wanted to see. There's just something different about going to the theater and seeing a movie. like I like the convenience of streaming, instantly being able to stream stuff. But there's just something absolutely fundamentally different. Like, can you imagine if you're someone who's big, like, and I was never a big like Marvel guy or anything, but like, can you imagine like watching Infinity War or Endgame like when it first came out, like in your fucking house and shit, like, and not being in the theater, with these people? Uh, it's just a different experience. Yeah. Other than that, I'm busy with more schooling and stuff. I finished a degree this year. I'm doing another fucking certification. I've done 3 certification programs for various different fucking stuff for the last couple of years. I finished a degree this year. In the summertime, I have a fucking fast car, and I like to go fucking drive around, drive fast, windy roads and shit. Um, Shit. Other than that, outdoor stuff. I've been hunting. When I lived in Texas, I did a lot more outdoor stuff. Obviously, like some boar hunting. Fucking, owned a lot more guns. I was shooting a lot. Yeah, there's just a lot of shit. But to be honest, most of the shit has stopped since COVID and hasn't really come back yet, or at least in the way that I would want to. But other than that, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I like. Yeah, video gaming is always, it's a hobby that I care deeply about and I'm very serious about, but there's other shit that, I'm interested in too. So, and also to answer your other question, you're also consistently uploading to YouTube again. How long is that going to last? Well, as long as I have the inspiration for it and as long as I have shit to keep bitching about. So yeah. All right. All right, next question is from NTV5X. Says, broadly speaking, are there any design choices or features that you look for in FPS games, i.e. any subgenres, gunplay mechanics, movement mechanics, complexity, whatever else? Also, are there any other gaming genres you enjoy outside of FPS games? So for the first question, I can't really say that I look for specific shit when I go and play another game. It's really, and this is going to sound really like a lazy way to answer it, but it's really all a feel thing. I don't know how better to explain it, especially when it comes to like how the gun handles, like what are the mechanics involved with that, how's the movement. Like it's a very, I would liken it to like when you get into a car for the first time that you haven't driven before, and you're actually like in tune with what's going on. Like, that's how I feel with how I approach, like, going into a new FPS game or something, You're trying to get the feel of what this thing can do, That's how I look at it. So, generally, I like games where, man, like, specific gunplay mechanics, I feel like I'm fairly adaptable, so there's games that I've played that have no spread. There's games that have a shit ton of spread. There's games that have a lot of recoil, little recoil. You have shit tier movement, good movement. I feel like I've played enough games and I've played long enough to where whatever it is, I can kind of get into it and find my niche in it in some way. I'm going to find a way to kill dudes in the game with whatever it is. So are there things that I specifically look for? Not necessarily. Just don't be a shit ton of cancer. That's really all I ask from the gameplay. Be kind of playable. Make sure the game runs well. Have a non-fucked netcode. Kind of do a little bit of balancing in your weapons. And don't have like completely cancer gameplay that's pushed by the developers. Other than that, I mean, I'm pretty cool and chill with whatever's going on. Are there any other gaming genres I enjoy outside of FPS? Well, enjoying FPS is kind of a misnomer here, since you were kind of enduring FPS games right now. Yeah, I've played World of Warcraft for 20 plus years. I've always liked RPG games, stuff like that. But I go back to times of like Lunar and shit like Grandia. Some older Final Fantasies, not the really really old ones, but like 7, 8, and 9. I really like. RPG wise. Like there's some shit like Monster Hunter World that came out. I had never fucking ever played a Monster Hunter game in my life. I played Pokemon games my entire life, basically. I was in a competitive East Coast Pokemon League in 2009 and 2010. Yeah, go fucking figure. Like I said, Monster Hunter, I had never played a Monster Hunter game until Monster Hunter World, and I fucking went down a deep hole with that fucking game. Uh, I've been back playing GTA 3 again. I love the Rockstar games. Like I am probably gonna go back and play through. I have not played Red Dead Redemption 2 as much as I would have liked. Like I think I have like 30, 40 hours in that game, but there's a lot more I want to do in that game. Yeah, there's other shit I like. It's just usually I'm too busy with real life stuff, or I'm trying to keep up like mechanically and continue playing and uh, polishing on what I'm doing in FPS games with whatever I'm doing there. So yeah, ton of like fuck, even sports games. Like I've played sports games my entire life. Less now, and I would always play them on console, but I've definitely been a Madden guy back before Madden games turned to shit after like 2008 or 9. Did the NBA fucking shit like outside of gaming, like I'm a huge fucking sports nerd. Like I watch every fucking game of the NFL season. I have NBA Game Pass. Like fucking I watch. Christ, I think this summer I watched maybe 200 baseball games. Like, and I just sit there and watch the whole fucking game, like all that shit. Like, I would follow like a team. I would watch a specific team for like a couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, to get a feel for them, and then just go in there. And I have a lot of conversations with Deeg about that stuff because we're both baseball guys. But yeah, that kind of adds on to the other question I had about aspirations and hobbies outside of gaming. Like I have a lot of shit that I'm interested in. I try to be extremely varied in what I'm interested in. So yeah. The next question is from One Cert Zoom. Thoughts on the future of the FPS genre? Is it growing, dying, going in the right direction, etc.? It seems like there's still an appetite for it with Apex, Counter-Strike, and Valorant. But other than something like Tarkov, I don't really see anybody shaking up the formula much. Also, with cross-platforming becoming a norm in some titles, and with the growth of mobile gaming, I can only imagine that's coming too. Do you think there's a way to do cross-platforming better than how it's done now? Early Happy New Year's, by the way. Well, Happy New Year's to you as well, and everybody else. The future of the FPS genre, is it growing, is it dying, or going in the right direction? Obviously, I think it's a couple different things here. I think it is not going in the right direction. I can't say that it's dying, though, because the games are still making a shit-ass fuck ton of money. Is it growing? I don't have the actual numbers in front of me, so I really don't know. I know Battlefield 2042 is a massive fucking failure, and I know that game still made a shit ton of money. So what does that say? So, I mean, how do you answer that question? There's still an appetite for it with Apex, Counter-Strike, and Valorant. I kind of put like Counter-Strike, Valorant, and Siege in a different... I think of them a little bit differently than I do Apex, because Apex is always going to follow, basically for me, it's always going to fall under the BR type thing, and I know it has redeeming values, but I'm just a guy who I've never been into Battle Royale games, and I never will be. I've played PUBG, I've played Apex, I've played Warzone. Like, it just not... I played the fucking Blackout or whatever the fuck it was. I played H1Z1. Like, all this shit, I just don't... I don't enjoy the genre. And I understand there's an interest in it, but I'm way more of a fucking Counter-Strike, Siege, Valorant type player, I think, than I am the Battle Royale stuff. And obviously, I'm way more of a Battlefield, Planetside type player than I am a Counter-Strike, Valorant. You know, it kind of goes on a gradient here. But as for like milsim stuff like Tarkov and all this shit, like these are games that I understand why people like them and play them, And fine, but I'm not interested. And people keep suggesting for me to play all these fucking milsim games and stuff. It's like I really am not interested in that kind of gameplay, bro. Stop. But as for nobody shaking up the formula much, I think you're seeing this in film as well, and a bunch of other places. Is that it's much safer financially for people to just repeat what works over and over again. You're seeing that with sequels in movies and just reboots and safe. Like it's really rare that someone comes out now and has like a new IP and they actually try to do something different. So I think it's important that we as consumers actually take notice of this stuff, and these people that are actually trying to do something different and interesting, and support them for it. Because I'm real fucking tired, and a lot of the shit you're seeing with how ass the games are now is you're just seeing these fucking publishers chasing these market trends from. And right now we're chasing market trends from what, 2016, 2017? Like, stop making battle royales, guys. Like, stop. Like, how many more of these like fail fucking battle royales have to come out? Like, there's been, I can't even think how many there's been. Think of all these like random early access battle royale games that people have had that come out and you play for 20 minutes and then you stop playing. Like, stop making battle royales. Stop it. I think all these publishers need to go back to what they know how to do, their tried and true formula, and then evolve and base it on that. And stop chasing these trends in the market to appease your stockholders. I know that's not the reality of how things work, and I know it's all about, corporate greed and just unabashed fucking profit making everywhere and just shitting on the consumer and all this stuff. It's rough. So for the FPS genre, I wish they would stop chasing trends, honestly, and really focus on why their games were popular in the first place. Like, have a real fucking hard look, like some introspection on why your shit was popular in the first place, and get back to that. I think that would really fucking help everyone. As for cross-platforming stuff, granted, like, when it comes to FPS games, I think with cross-platform, it really depends on the title, because some look at 2042. 2042 would not be playable at all. The game would be completely dead on PC if there was no crossplay. Like, just having crossplay on and getting to fight against fucking console players is the only thing that keeps the game alive for me. Then you get into the trouble of input methods, If I'm playing a guy, depending on how the developer implements the aim assist in these fucking games, I think you need to separate input methods. People on controller on console need to be put against people on controller on PC. And if you're playing controller on PC, then what the fuck is... Stop it. Yeah. Mouse and keyboard against mouse and keyboard. I mean, this has been the way of things forever. And I think there is a developer who fucking... I don't remember who it is. Fuck. I can't think of it right now, but there's a developer that specifically has made it so it's input based, and especially if you're gonna do like competitive stuff, like there's no question, like you need to separate the inputs, because the way some of this aim assist is tuned now in these games, and 2042 surprisingly has apparently some like default ass aim assist. And the console players are fucking crying their eyes out. They are bitching. It's actually a nice role reversal, is that they're bitching about having to play against keyboard and mouse fucking players, as it fucking should be, okay? You don't get to have the same aim as me just because you have two fucking retard sticks, okay? That's not how that works. Your aim is fake. My aim is real, okay? Get the fuck off the sticks. and learn an actual input device, you lazy casual shitter. Anyway, yeah, crossplay is fine if it's done correctly. It's just unfortunate that mostly it's not done correctly. So yeah.